Well, thanks everyone for attending today's meeting. We're going to be going over the Purchase Manager update parameters. There's some new features that have been added to Keystroke and Keystroke Advanced POS to help us change our prices automatically. I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone at this time. If you have any immediate questions you want to ask, please use the chat button in the GoToMeeting, and I'll try to address them as we go, and then at the end I'll open up for any questions. So I'll go ahead and mute everyone here, and we'll go ahead and get started. So again, today we're going over Purchase Manager and the update parameters. And as you know, every Wednesday we do the Wednesday Keystroke Live at 10 o'clock Mountain Time. And today is Purchase Manager. So what we're going to go over today is some settings in Purchase Manager for updating pricing. There's ways that you can update the base price automatically. You can actually see the new price. This is a new advanced only feature where you can see on the screen what the price is going to be and actually change it and modify it at that time if you think you want to modify it at that time. And of course, with price tables, we're going to take a little diversion into price tables to show you how you can actually tell Keystroke always to update the price and upwards and not go down. So let's say you got a premium discount on a purchase you made, but you don't want to actually change your pricing downward to match that, even though your margins might be the same. You want to actually keep it the same price and so forth. So we'll see how it works now, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to move over to Keystroke here, and we'll take a look at some of these. And as I mentioned, if anyone has an emergent question that they want to bring up or like me to discuss something I haven't covered, please use the chat down below. I'd like to keep the mute on at this time. So here we are in Purchase Manager. We're looking at a blank purchase screen. I'm going to go ahead and look at the parameters and how we have it set up at this time. So I go to in Purchase Manager, I go to the Transaction menu. Then I select the Parameters feature. And we're going to go to the Update option here, and we'll go from there. Normally, Keystroke default settings are to actually update the last cost, update the average cost, and normally reset average cost is set. That's kind of a way in the past where we didn't want to, when we sell to the negative, affect the average cost in a funny way, where it's but nowadays if you don't use that, we have this other option called update the cost of goods adjustment, where it actually saves an amount if you ever sell in the negative and then distributes that amount into the cost of the next items that you receive. I'm going to just use this setting here. This is the standard settings at this time. And we also have update the vendor cost. Some of the new features we've added is don't set the price to 0, meaning if, let's say, a vendor comes in and gives you a promo and says, hey, thanks for buying 4 cases of those, I'm going to give you 2 cases of these, and you want to put it on a purchase order, but you don't want Keystroke to actually update the cost to 0 or actually include it in, this is where you'd set those parameters. Today we're going to be talking about the update base price parameter, this one here. This is a feature in Keystroke where we can change the base price based on the cost of the items you received. This new feature called Calculate New Price is used in Advanced POS, and it allows you to actually see what the new price is going to be. It actually calculates it for you and displays it on the screen. I'm going to quickly go into the price table here. Our default is this $, which is really our price adjustment price table. And as in many parts of Keystroke, you can edit things on the fly now in version 7 by just hitting Insert there. This is the list of my price tables. These might be my selling prices. This is one we kind of use for price adjustments, but you can have different price tables for even price adjustments if you decide to do so. I'm going to hit F3 on price adjustments to edit it. And here I have already set up, this is kind of indicative of our tutor data. where I have hardware is set up for 100% markup, software is a 75% markup, gifts are 55% markup, and I just added this one for this demonstration for 40% markup, and we'll take a look at this. This is for office supplies, actually. I guess I could have made this clearer by actually changing its name to something like office supplies. I'll just do something like that. That's just the name we're going to see. Here's where we use the markup. If you're not familiar with price tables, if you don't know that negative 40% markdown is a markup, I'm going to use the F9 key right here. It's usually one of our toggles, and it actually changes it to markup 40%. If I want to see what that relates to in a profit margin, I can see that that's a roughly 28.5% profit margin. Back to markdown and back to markup. I'm going to change it to 40 and leave it at that. When I toggle through into profit, it actually changed that. We'll come back to this later and show you about the minimum markup and how we can actually set this to not actually mark the price down from the original base price. We'll come back to that. So this is just a basic, simple setup here. We're going to mark up any office supplies by 40%, meaning if I buy something for $10, I'm going to sell it for $14. We can also use price patterns. I don't want to get too much into price tables, but we could say, well, I don't want to sell for $14. Everything in my store is $13.99 or $1.99. We can use a price pattern for that. But I'm going to say OK to this just to show you. Now it's my office supplies are 40%. I say OK. I make sure I hit enter to select the price table. And that's pretty much the setting. These three settings right here, update base price, calculate new price, and price table are what we're going to be using. And I'm going to say OK to these parameters. Before I go on, I'm going to show you some display parameters that are part of Keystroke Advanced POS. So if we go to Transaction, Parameters, and Display, what you see here is pretty much what it used to be. The line items would show you in the order received mode. You can turn it off. Purchase orders, so always make a purchase invoice. And here's where the screen modes come into play. This is a whole new setting of parameters. Today I'm only going to be using purchase orders. So I've decided to say my default is going to be on order and received, but I'll also allow my purchase order to toggle into total ordered and total received mode. With the new price, I can actually go through here and show which price formulas I'd like to see. In this case, I'm going to simplify this from the default. I'm going to change that and that. I always like order received mode. Total order, total received is a little more complex. When I, let's say, ordered 10, received 3, then ordered, and there's 7 left, and now I received 2. But maybe I want to go see that I ordered 10 and really received 5. I don't want to make this more complex than it can be, but you can set it up that way. So this is where we're going to be talking about the purchase order section here. I'm going to be able to look at the new price, and I'm going to be able to toggle through the 2 fields up above, plus toggle through these fields by using our Shift F9 keys. So I say OK to this, and OK to my parameters. So here I am on a blank purchase order. I've already done some research, and I know that vendor number 2, Jackson Stationery Supply, has some items that are eligible for auto order. So when I hit Shift and F8, the auto order function comes in for Jackson Stationery Supply, and I can just say OK down here. And now these are items that need to be reordered. They have fallen below the minimum quantity. These are different items that I need to purchase. It tells me how many I should purchase. These are all settings based on auto order. So this is a standard purchase order. This is what we normally see. And we come in and go, okay, well, my costs since last time I purchased this have gone up. Normally vendors are raising their prices, not so often lowering their prices, but we'll go into that shortly. But knowing that I can hit Shift and F9, which I'm going to do right now, I can change this display mode. So I do Shift F9. Now I'm in that total ordered, total received mode. I'm going to hit Shift F9 once more. And now these are the new screens we're talking about. Here's the new price calculated at my 40% markup. And as a price, let's say the cost goes up, you'll notice the new price is going to be changed. So let's say this is no longer $3.75, but now it's $4.25. You'll notice when I hit enter, the $5.25 is going to go up. It's going to go up to a 40% margin, and it says I should sell that item for $5.95. And let's do another one here. Let's say this item here is normally 59 cents, but now they change it to 75 cents. I normally would sell it for 83. I really wouldn't be making any money, so I hit enter on that. Now it says I want to sell that item for $1.05. Let's just go through a few more. I'm going to show you just exactly what I talked about earlier. If this were $10 and not 97 cents, you'll see that that's a $14 item. I'll go back and change it to $1. It's $1.40. So you can go through and with the new costs, see what your new 40% markup is going to be, and then you can see what the new price is going to be. And let's just say this one now has gone up quite a bit to $7.50. So now when I save this, it shows me what the new price will be. Only when I receive it does it update the price, because if I receive one of them and not 10 of them, my average cost might be different. If I receive all 10 of these up here, then I would have a different average cost and so forth. And I'll just F3 on this line item to show you that here's my old cost, $3.75. Here's my base price at $7.50. These are some of the other costs, and we'll go into that just quickly about the opportunity to sell those. I actually change those at different pricing. All right, so let's go back to our items. And so this is a screen here. I'm going to hit Shift F9 one more time. I have also set up the screen display modes in Advanced POS to show me profit margins. Some people like to only work with profit margins. It was around 28.5%. This is kind of rounding here. You see 29%. I click on it, it's 8.6%. It was like 28.57. So what it's saying is that's what the price is going to be. I'm going to hit Shift F9 once or twice more. Back to my regular screen. Back to my total order, total received. Let's go back to this initial screen here. I can say at this time I can manually change the price. I can say, well, no, I want them $5.99. I want this price to be $1.09. I want this one to be $1.49. And I can manually do these if I want $3.89 and maybe $10.59 or $10.49. This time I'm going down a little bit. You notice how the cost didn't change. The new price has been set, so I can set it right here and say these are the numbers I'd like to see on price tags. And it automatically adjusts what the markup dollar amount is, and it automatically adjusts what the percentage is. And again, changing the screen mode one more time, it shows me that, okay, now I've kind of changed things around. It's 29% profit margin. This is a 33% and so forth. So I'm not going to save this right now, but if I did and actually received all of these, then it would go ahead and update those prices. And really, it's only when you receive the items is when the base prices are updated. You could do everything in the world you want until the product shows up, but nothing happens till you receive it. I'm going to clear this screen, and then we're going to go back to the price tables and take a look at, well, and let me show you an example here. Let me find a good example. Here's one. The base price on this is $7.50. Here's an example that when I start receiving these items at a 40%, sorry, I'm going to browse right through here, at a 41% profit margin, I'm now going to be selling that for less than what I used to sell that for. I used to sell it for $7.50, and I would hate to go ahead and sell it for $5.99, even though I've set my minimum markups. And this is because our tutor data, if you've noticed, is kind of defaulted to a 50%, and I've set up a price table to be lower than every item that's on here. So let's go talk quickly about how we can talk to the price table and tell it to never make the price less. So I back to my update parameters under transaction parameters update. I go to the price table field and I hit insert to bring up the list. I hit F3 to edit the list. And we're just talking about office supplies at this time, so I'm going to hit F3 to edit the office supplies. And here's where I can say I never want to mark it up below the base price. So now I can say I'm going to actually mark these down, but I'm going to mark them up to only 40% of what the cost is. So here's a markup of 40% of what the cost is, but in reality I want it to be a minimum of 100% of what the base price is, which says never sell it for, never mark it down basically, just always use the base price or go up. And sometimes you can say, well, I'm getting better deals, I want to get more business, I'm going to lower my prices. So you could say, well, maybe I'll make it 90% of the base price. Now it's time to lower the price. You can also say, well, no, it's got to be at least 110% of that. But let's just go with 100 to show you how that works. So I'm just going to save this, save my price table, hit enter to select my price table, F10 to save the parameter. I am now going to just clear this screen and reload it. So here we are, vendor number 2, Shift F8 for the auto function, auto order. And now we've got the same pricing and costs and everything looks normal. Let me switch to that new mode. Oops, 100% markup from base. It should have been 50%. I was using markup and so forth. So this one actually doubled it. I'll show you where I made my mistake. Let's F3 on this item. At 750, 100% was actually twice that. That's a profit margin. I should have changed that. So let's go change my parameter. So now I know it's not working. This is actually 300. Let's go fix that. Back to parameters. Back to my update. I'm going to hit F3 to edit it. Go down to office supplies. We'll go ahead and edit that. This is a minimum markup. It actually should have been profit margin. It's a markup of 100% above the base price. This should have been 0%. That should have been, and if you notice, if I go in this field and hit the delete key, it's null, which says this function is turned off. But 0 is different than null. 0 says this is 100 or 0% markup from the base. I could have said 50% markup from the cost, another way to go at it, but that's kind of counterintuitive when I say mark it up 40 and there's 50. So let's just say 0 here from the base price. So this is going to say go ahead and if I buy it for a lot more, I can always raise the price above the base price, but I can never raise the base price above what it currently is. So let's try this. F10, 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 F10. Let's clear the screen. Let's pull this auto order up again. There's the auto order. Okay, so let me switch screens, and you can turn this on to be the default screen. This one actually comes up in this mode, but I can have it automatically come up in this screen automatically. I don't have to hit Shift F9. And here's where it's saying, no, if I buy it at $375, it's going to be $750. Let's say I buy it for less, $325. The new price is still $750. Let's say I buy it for $4. The new price is still $750. Let's go ahead and say, well, wow, this thing really went up. It's cost me $10 now. Now notice it kicks in. It is going to change the base price, which was $750. It's going to change that base price up to $14 because I'm buying it for way more than I used to buy it for. So somewhere in the middle, about $8, about $6, it's going to probably kick in back to $5. Now it's at $750. So there's a way to make the changes, and as you might know in price tables, I could automatically round these up. So there's a good example of how the the update parameters for the base price work. Let's go through this right here. Just say these are what they are. I want to actually change some so that they're actually around 40%. See, that one goes back to 50. That's at 57. This one, let's say the price went down. I got that steal of a deal for $4.25. It's going to leave the base price for the 3-hole punch at $11.98. Even though I'm buying it for $4.25 now, I'm making a steal of a deal. I'm not going to reduce my price. I don't have to reprint shelf tags and so forth. Let's go ahead and just save this. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that order. Use Shift F8 right now to auto receive, just because I'm lazy. And let's say, well, now I'm really receiving it. Now I really need to pay attention to my pricing. Maybe now I want to kind of change some pricing here. I want this to be $1.25. I want this to be $3.10. And I like the 550. I'm making plenty of money there. I might just decide to reduce this time. I might make it, it's $11.25. I don't need to be making as much money as I thought I wanted. Now it's time to receive it. I'll hit F10. Well, let's just do it on account for this vendor, and I'll save it. Now if I pull up my invoice, I just hit Control-I to put it in invoice mode, and I pull this back up. Notice how my invoice screen has actually been adjusted to start automatically in this mode. So here's what happened. So I bought these at these costs here. Here's my total costs, and here's my new pricing. So if I look at this item here and hit F3, my new base price is $11.25. I overrode what the program said. I think this one I did not override it. Actually, let's see here. Well, I think I did on. No, 50% was one I did not override. That says I'm going to keep it at the 50%. Even though my average cost went up, it was at a 50% margin of what it used to be, but my average now is actually $3.21, so it's really at 42%. That's a profit margin. That should be like 28.5%. So that's kind of an overview on what Keystroke can do with these display modes. Let me go through the parameters one last time. Whoa. I'll have to figure out what happened there. Let's see if I'm back online here. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. This is a... Let's go ahead and Control-I and pull that back up. So let's hit F3 on this item here. We're going to just take a look at it. So it's $11.25. And here's where I went to transaction parameters and did display. We'll figure out what happened there. Anyhow, the screen modes, this is where we were talking about. This is the last time we'll look at this. Here's where the new price comes up into quantity with a markup, quantity and profit, or quantity only. And like purchase orders is set differently, so this one's going to come up and automatically show me some of this profit margin. And you can also turn on these different parameters if you don't want to see the order mode and so forth. So this is pretty much what the new parameters are for Keystroke Advanced POS. And I'll go ahead and open up anybody that wants to ask a question at this time. I'll unmute everybody, and hopefully it won't be too loud, but here goes. So,
Pardon? How hard is it?
Please let me know if you have any questions.
No, it's the same as the last one. You can still use it in the old. You can still use the old style as well.
Well, somebody's talking in the background there.
Mike, I have a question.
Sure, Keith.
I'm wondering if you had, say, 100 of a particular item in stock and ordered 20 more, using this, how does it affect the price of those original items that were in stock? Do they all get marked up as well?
Heritage Business Systems is Alex.
I mean, because your selling price has got effect, right, for everything.
I'm sorry, there's somebody in the background speaking.
I talked to you yesterday.
I can't figure out who that is. It doesn't say.
No,
That went right through. I had a question on the A330.
Honestly, you're looking probably at the,
Let me try something here. Hold on a second. Okay, Keith, go ahead and tell me your question again.
Okay. I'm just wondering, the price adjustment is not just for the items that came in. It would adjust all your items in stock as well, right?
No, this feature in Purchase Manager is only for the items in stock. We have other ways to update all your prices. Let's say one day I want to change all my pricing from one margin to another margin. I can go do a search and update price based on that price table. I can go ahead and do, there's another program called udprice.exe where I can run as a batch file to update level 1, level 2, level 3 based on the base price and so forth.
Well,
no, this is
what
really,
I mean is, if you had purchased, say, 80 of a particular item, let's say the standard stapler, you had purchased those at, say, $3, and they're still in stock, and you buy 20 more at $5.
Yep.
The price adjustment goes towards all of them, not just the latest 20, right?
Right. It's not a first in, first out. What we're doing here is saying, I'd like to change the price based on the new price. Now, keep in mind, we had 10 in stock. It fell below the minimum. I bought 10 more. So here's an example that, yeah, the new price is $7.50. Oops, sorry. I have 20 of them in stock, but some I bought below $5, and some I bought around $4. That's why the average cost is $4.38. So immediately, right now, when I go to Sales Manager, boom, it sells it for $7.50.
Okay, but you had the option to say the markup based on average cost as opposed to last cost. Is that
Yes,
correct?
absolutely. So that would have been something a little different. It would be, let's say, 40% of $4.38.
Right.
Exactly.
Got it.
And that was in that parameter. I had chosen to, under Update Parameters, this is what Keith is asking, under Office Supplies, I had chosen to make this based on last cost, not the average cost. So I could have actually said, no, let's do that all with the average. It's kind of like, I think you're saying, the price has gone up. I want to pass the price on to the customers. I want to do it incrementally with what I have. That's kind of a fair way to do it. A lot of people say, wow, that cost me $10 now. I immediately have to sell for for $14.
Sure.
So that's a little
Okay, thank
different.
you.
Sure. I'll go ahead and unmute everybody again. And does anyone else have any questions? Well, if you do have any questions or think of something, please give us a call here at SBS, and we'll be able to answer the questions for you. There's a lot more about price tables. I think we've gone through that a few times. And thanks to Nick, he's starting to post some of these videos up on our on the YouTube. And Nick, are you there? Maybe you want to just hint to that before I move on. You might have been. One last thing, I'd just like to remind everyone that next week is Michael Gebb will be kind of doing the first Wednesdays, which he does, and we have some new features coming out with Keystroke. They were presented at the Dealer Summit. We're testing stuff here about multi-store purchase orders, SQL database, and so forth, and he'll probably have some good stuff to share. So if there's no other questions, I'll go ahead and end the meeting. I thank everyone for showing up.